Alright, guys, so here is my girlfriend's story. Let me begin by telling you a bit about us. As I said before, I was born in Bosnia, moved to a nearby country in Balkans, where I grew up. I came to the US over 6 years ago. My girlfriend was born in India, grew up in Kenya until she was 3, when she moved to Canada. I met her a little over a year ago and we've been together since. So my girl, let's call her Lila, did have few encounters with Rose. First one that she remembers was on a plane. She was a flight attendant for Air Canada for several years. One day, about 6 years ago, she was flying her regular flight, but she can't remember what destination it was. It lasted maybe 2 hours. Once they took off and the seatbelt signs went away, she got up to serve complimentary drinks. Halfway through her section, she met Rose. She didn't know it at the time, of course. She said that something was terribly off about the woman. She had this creepy grin on her face, was really pale, and kept staring at her. When Lila offered her a drink and some snacks, she got no answer, only a wider and creepier fucking smile. Then Rose spoke. "I have something for you," she said in a voice that definitely wasn't natural for a woman her age. Her voice belonged to more of a teenager than an adult. There was something playful but terrifying in it. Now, Lila has seen some shit while flying, so she wasn't taken aback by this interaction. "Yeah? What would that be, ma'am?" "Don't patronize me, you bitch." She said that fast, like really fast. Her jaw was closed while saying that. Then she started grinding her teeth, never letting go of that fucking smile. This was a red flag for Lila. When passengers get aggressive, attendants walk away unless there is physical contact. "Alright, well, you have a pleasant rest of the flight, ma'am, okay?" "I have this for you," she whispered it, holding just an orange from behind her back. Never moving a muscle on her face, still a teenage voice, like when a 12-year-old hits puberty kind of voice. No thanks, Lila decided to call it a day with this crazy cunt and walked away. "Oh, but you should. One day, you know. One day." And that's that. Lila gave her the fuck off look and walked away. Lady never bothered her again during that flight. Well, during that flight. Lila went home a few days later and didn't think much of what had happened. When her mom asked her how her flight was, Lila smiled and said good, other than one really crazy lady. Mom wanted to hear more, so Lila started telling her about what happened. By the time she said the word orange, her mom started crying. Lila was in shock. It was story time. Well, apparently when my girlfriend was a baby in Kenya, she had woken her parents up a few times with a loud crying. When they'd walk into her room, she'd have an orange next to her in her crib. Everything in the house would be locked though. Windows, doors, everything. It got to the point where her parents moved the crib into their room and installed security cameras. Well, on Lila's 3rd birthday, that morning when they woke up, they saw an orange laying in Lila's chest. They were absolutely taken over by horror. They called the police. The police came and looked over the camera footage. Cameras clearly showed a woman opening the front door that was locked, walked into their room, placing an orange on Lila and just standing there for like an hour, just standing there, while her head tilted to the left, looking at her. By this point, it is unnecessary to say that Lila was completely horrified. Her mom wasn't doing much better either. Anyways, to keep the story going, her parents didn't know what to do. Police couldn't find the mysterious woman, and no security measure other than 24/7 bodyguards, which they couldn't afford, was enough. Some of their family was already in Canada and were pressuring them to move, so this incident was a final push. They moved and left this creature with an orange behind. Until that day, on that flight, Lila was completely unable to do anything for the next few days after that conversation. She didn't eat much, didn't communicate with anyone. After a while, she got better. There was no sign of further horrors, so she started believing it was all a fucked up coincidence, and she went on with her life. She hasn't seen Rose in years after that. Last time she encountered Rose was 1 month before Lila met me. Lila did many transatlantic flights. She loved those. Long travels, decent money, seeing the world. She had it all. 1 month before we met, she was coming back from a Hong Kong trip. She flew to Toronto, I believe. Crew had a nice hotel. Everyone had their own room. Lila was on the 3rd floor. She loved drinking at that time and got pretty drunk that night. She passed out at about 1 o'clock. At around 4 a.m., she heard a knock on the door, then another one, and then another one. But they weren't loud or fast knocks. No, they were slow and silent, yet loud enough to wake her drunk ass up. She rolled out of the bed, thinking it was one of her equally drunk crew members. Not thinking much, she opened the door and there she stood. Lila said that lights in her room were off, but the TV was on. Light from the screen was shining on Rose's face, shining on the grin, shining on the pearly white teeth, bright red lipstick, and a white face paired up with a tilted head. You know how when you're drunk and some scary shit happens and you sober the fuck up immediately? Yeah. She just let out this helpless sound of horror. They both stood there. Rose started rocking back and forth. Every time she'd rock back and forth, she'd reveal red shoes hidden under her white dress. Her teeth were grinding, and then she pulled out an orange. What do you want from me?" Lila begged. Rose kept rocking with a smile. Please, just leave me alone. I don't have anything." You take it. You take it now. He will too." She said that with the same teenager voice. Only a little more playful tone was used this time, like a happy-ish child. Don't know if it was her defense mechanism activating, but Lila took the fucking orange and threw it over Rose's head and screamed, "Get the fuck out of here, and take this shit with you, you freak." That was the first time either of us saw Rose lose her smile. White teeth disappeared under those thick red lips. Head went back from a gentle tilt to its natural position. "I will see you two soon," she said in an adult voice. And this voice was scarier than the teenager voice. Lila says it's because it sounded real, like a conscious, normal person making a threat. Of course. At that time, Lila didn't know me and had no idea who you two were. She assumed it to be her mom. That brings us to today, yeah. If you read the update from my previous story, you saw that our room was broken into by Rose. Logical assumption. Pictures of the break-in were taken before the police came. They will be up on here today. Some stuff in our room was moved around. We are scared as fuck, to say the least. Clueless as to what's going on. I will be Skyping with my mom soon to see if she has any answers. Lila will talk to her mom as well. I am personally just shocked at these developments. I never believed anything like this was even possible. Quite honestly, if one of you wrote this story here, I wouldn't believe the shit you said. And I can't blame you if you don't believe me. But if you have any idea about what this might be, I'm all ears. I assume it's some sort of a cult, but the only thing that fucks with my head is the fact that Rose knew my girlfriend before I did. Everything so far could have been explained in a logical way, but this took it to a super fucking natural level. Were they putting an effort into getting us together? How'd they do that? And more importantly, why? For what possible benefit? Fuck this, man. Fuck this.